Have you ever wondered what the end of suffering actually looks like? Not as some abstract theory, but as a direct, personal, lived experience. Well, today, we're diving into one monk's raw, first-hand account of his journey to enlightenment, a path he calls the direct route to the end of all suffering. The monk we're talking about is Venerable Acharya Mahabua, a hugely respected forest meditation master. And what makes his story so powerful is that it isn't some ancient parable. It's a gritty, step-by-step report from the front lines of his own mind. His journey kicks off with a problem that, let's be honest, we all know too well, that relentless onslaught of our own thoughts and feelings. As he points out, most of us just kind of give up and let the inner chaos wash over us, never even really putting up a fight. So his first big task was to really understand the battlefield. What are these internal forces that keep our minds so agitated, so confused, and ultimately so stuck in a state of suffering? He's describing that feeling of being trapped, right? Pulled in a million directions at once by our own thoughts, our moods, our desires. It's that feeling of being powerless, like our minds are constantly being hijacked by these contaminating forces. And this enemy has a name. Kilesas. You can think of them as pollutants, just junking up the mind. And they're not just ideas, they are the active forces of greed, hatred, and delusion that are constantly mucking up our inner world and causing all our suffering. And what are the kilesas polluting? The chitta. Now this is a super important concept. It's not your thinking mind or your personality, it's the pure, essential awareness that exists underneath all of that. It's that timeless quality of knowing that's our real nature. The whole goal is to separate this pure chitta from all that gunk. So how do you even begin to separate that pure signal from all the noise? For Mahabua, the answer was a simple, incredibly powerful tool to just anchor his wildly wandering attention. His method was just stunning in its simplicity and its intensity. He picked one word, Buddho, and made it his entire world. And get this wasn't just for an hour of meditation. It was an all-day, every day, from the moment he woke up practice. The whole idea was to give his mind one single unwavering sing to hold onto and basically starve all the chaos of the attention it needs to survive. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? It shows the sheer level of commitment he had. There was no plan B, no wondering if some other technique was better. He staked his entire journey on this one single task. And that absolute total resolve was the key to finally getting his mind to settle down. But stabilizing the mind? That was just the first step. The real investigation, the real breakthroughs, began in a place of incredible physical struggle, a trial by fire that led to a truly profound insight. So while sitting in meditation all night, he was hit with this overwhelming, agonizing pain. But instead of running from it, he made a vow. He was going to sit with it until dawn and investigate it, even if it killed him, until he understood what it really was. And this was his first earth-shattering insight. By working at it with such intense focus, he saw that the body and the pain were not the same thing. One has physical properties, right? A shape, a color. The other is just this formless sensation. He realized they're two totally separate realities, just happening in the same space. And then came the next, even deeper realization. Just like pain is separate from the body, it's also completely separate from the chitta, that core awareness. Pain shows up, hangs around for a bit, and then goes away. The chitta, it just knows the pain is there. It's the stable, unchanging observer. The second he saw that separation clearly, the pain just lost its power. It couldn't touch his essential nature anymore. So he had overcome the body, he had overcome pain. You'd think he's done, right? Nope. He was about to face the final, the most subtle, and the most deceptive obstacle of them all, the mind's attachment to its own brilliance. This final defilement is called avijja, or fundamental ignorance. Imagine you've let go of literally everything, every thought, every feeling, every sensation. What's left is a pure, radiant, knowing mind. Well, the final trap is to become attached to that very radiance, to cherish it and think, this is me, this is mine. And it's an incredibly convincing trap. He describes this state as majestic and awe-inspiring. It feels like the final goal, like you've finally made it. This mesmerizing light is the most refined, most subtle version of a self you could possibly imagine. This metaphor he uses just captures the final step perfectly. The mind is admiring this huge, empty, radiant state, but it fails to see that the admirer, the knower itself, is the last thing left occupying the space. True emptiness only happens when the one who is knowing the emptiness finally lets go and walks out of the room. This final realization that the knower itself had to go led to the climax of his entire epic journey. It was a single, instantaneous moment where absolutely everything changed forever. So, with nowhere else to look, the full, concentrated power of his wisdom and mindfulness literally turned back on itself. It stopped investigating the objects of awareness and started investigating the very source of awareness. And in that instant, that final attachment to the knower just shattered. He describes it like the entire universe flipping over, a magnificent, indescribable moment where the false center of a self just collapsed, revealing a truth that's completely beyond words. The experience was so profound, so utterly mind-blowing, that it brought him to tears. It was a moment of pure amazement, of finally recognizing the true nature of reality that he had been seeking for so long. But wait a minute. If he's an enlightened being, an Arahant, why is he crying? It seems like a contradiction, doesn't it? But he actually addresses this directly, and his explanation reveals a fundamental difference between the pure mind and, the conventional body. The answer is simple but really profound. The tears belong to the khandhas, the body and the mind's normal functions. These are just conventional realities that react to things and are governed by change. But the pure chitta, it's timeless. It's completely unaffected. The tears are just a physical echo of this incredible event, but that core awareness remains perfectly, unshakably serene. And that leaves us with a final, really powerful question to think about. This entire epic journey was about dismantling the very idea of a central self. So, in a world that is completely obsessed with self-discovery and self-improvement, what does it actually mean to seek a truth that has absolutely nothing to do with you at all?